Three wise men will listen to. There's only three wise men will listen to. It's the front three. No, it's the front three.
All right, welcome back to a very special debate room series with the front three podcast with myself, Big Will, Coach Dan, the prodigy himself, AJ. How are you guys doing?
We're good, but before we go anywhere, guys, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share.
There you go. So this is a special debate room podcast because we're not really going to debate. We're actually going to look back on England's Euro 2020, which ended in defeat to Italy on penalties, guys. I mean, how do we feel a week or so apart from what happened?
I mean, I think we should ask Coach Dan because he's the one who predicts that England would win it. So,
and I don't mind being in the hot seat, but let's take it.
In an Italian shirt as well. Yeah. Let's proceed, boss.
Let's proceed, exactly. Look, so before the Euros, right, I think it would have probably been split, or if not, maybe 60-40. 40% thinking England could do something in the Euros, and 60 thinking, well, just good old England, right?
Yeah.
Then as the competition went on, people started to believe. They started to believe.
Yeah.
It gave the nation hope that, we can do something,
Facts.
And, the build-up then became a whole globalized thing. It seems like everyone here around the world heard that, it's coming home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it made people believe in everything like that. Look, for as long as, I'm in this country and sort of like the players that I get to see on a weekly basis playing football, I'll always put England as one of the best teams to go and win something in tournaments. And they were a penny shootout away, guys.
True.
A penny shootout away. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's mad.
So regardless, they still get that respect from me. And the fact that, they at least, right, had the audacity to make sure my prediction was right and get to the final.
Yeah.
It's Southgate.
There you go. I mean, I thought personally it was a great run. I mean, I work in a school and every single day, one student would come up to me and say, "Sir, do you think it's coming home?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think it's coming home." And it looked like it. It looked like it after Trippier's goal, Luke Shaw's goal after the first few minutes. It was looking good, but then
The worst thing to happen to England was that goal going.
if we talk about that game itself, AJ, I mean, the formation and then how we played after we scored that goal. What was your assessment?
I think I said it privately to us guys is that Gareth should go for the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3, 3-5-2, yeah. And he started with that. Well, with a 3-4-3, sorry. And it was working. And the goal came from exactly how I said if England played, they'll win the game. Which was you overload with the fullback coming in on one side and the other bombing on the other side. So there's an overload. So at that point, Italy have only 4 defenders. They have a problem because they're going to have to not mark either 1 or 2 players who are arriving in the box. And of course, you flood the box. And that was what happened with Luke Shaw's goal. It was him back post with Raheem Sterling, I believe. And the Italian defence were occupied by Harry Kane and also trying to stop the cross from Trippier. So immediately there, they've scored a goal and you've seen the game plan, which was get the fullbacks to bomb on, fullback to fullback if you can, flood the box, let's squeeze them. Perfect. You've now scored. Now, look, it doesn't take a genius to know that Italy were unbeaten, 32 games, right? It means that they assert a certain level of control. So there, we've scored early. We know there's another, 89 minutes to go in normal time, and of course, etc. I think for me personally, we've scored a goal. The shape now needs to be tighter. So in that respect, and the press needs to be smarter. So there, if it's a 3-4-3 with Mount, Sterling, and Kane, what should naturally happen is Kane should be the focal, and then Mount and Sterling dropping behind him. So in those pockets, so the pockets that they're in, it occupies the half and half of the midfield, and if the fullback wants to bomb on. But what we were seeing with England was because the press from Italy was so good, and Italy have great ball players, we were a second slow to get into the Jorginhos. We were a second slow to get into the Barella, who, in fact, that was probably Barella's most quietest game we've seen for Italy. But we were just too slow in the midfield. And what was happening was Rice and Phillips had the issue of, do we go in to engage them and work our nuts off and be tired after 50 minutes, or do we sit back and absorb the pressure? And they did neither. But then the latter came to pass as in England kept on soaking up pressure. Guys, it's a 90-minute game. You're gonna crack because it's not just about your body working; it's your mind as well. So I think at that rate, when we noticed Jorginho started exercising his right as a fantastic passer, the shape should have changed. The shape changed way too late, and even when it did change, we looked more threatening with Saka coming on. You know, we were engaging him higher up on the pitch, but our press wasn't great either. And of course, when Italy move the ball like they do, it's very difficult to stop them. But for me, the game changer was Immobile coming off and Insigne going central, because what he did was he just played in front of the back four, so yeah, in front of Maguire and Stones, but just behind Rice. What do you do there? As a defender, as a centre-half, do you go with him into that hole and risk your other centre-half being exposed, or do you leave him to do whatever he wants? And what England done for about 15 minutes was leave him to do whatever he wants to do. And we started to struggle, because that's when they started finding the gaps and started penetrating us. So I just think the communication and just the tactical astuteness was just missing a little bit. I think the initial game plan was perfect, but once you score that early goal, what are you going to do to make sure that you're still posing a threat to Italy? I think the most threat we were showing was when Rice was carrying the ball for 20, 30 yards, doing so well, but then we'll get up there and have to try and turn around to pass it back.
Yeah. Just before you talk about the game itself, Coach, what is the mindset of a coach or a manager once your team goes 1-0 up, say, in the first 5 minutes?
There is the game plan the manager put out before you come out. Then there is the pressures that are on the players to see the game through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sometimes forces them to get into a mode that they probably don't want to get into. Mm-hmm. But because of the team like Italy, when they're keeping the ball, you naturally just fall into that sort of like block, you know. And I think that's what happened to England. I say that, but I also think the game plan was different. I think the game plan, there was a clash between sort of like the pressures that were on them and the game plan of Gareth Southgate, sort of like crossing over to a point where it was too negative and cautious. Yeah. And by the time he realised, or the time he thought, let's do something about it, it was too late. Yeah. And I don't know if that's all right with my response to your question, and then I get into it. Yeah. So, you know, on top of sort of like what AJ said, let me try and be, say this.
Sorry, you can sit
to
forward.
Express yourself as concise and to the point as I can. Yeah. So, again, let's start with the formation, right? Before the formation come out, we knew who was going to start, right? And then the question started, is this the correct formation, blah, blah, blah. Like I said to you guys, I thought up till then, his decision-making has been good. So let me shut up and let him do his job. So I shut my mouth up. Yeah? And I let him do his job. Yet, I still had questions at the back of my head. Because the only other time we played that formation was against Germany. Yeah. And he came out, Gareth Southgate that is, to tell us the reason why he's playing that formation. Okay, cool. But against Italy, I didn't think we needed to play that formation. Again, but I shut my mouth up, right?
Especially because Spinazzola wasn't playing,
Spinazzola wasn't playing. Yeah. Yes, you can say Emerson goes up. Emerson does by his end product. Yeah. He might as well not been going up.
It's not going to hurt you.
Exactly. Then you got then you got Di Lorenzo. Yeah. Guys, he doesn't, because he's a protection for that back. Back in Bonucci and Cellini. As good as defenders they are, they're not wanting to turn back and run. Of course. And Jorginho, Verratti, and Barella are not, bone crunching midfielders anyway. They're just very good at keeping possession. So I think that's sort of like their game plan. So I was thinking, now you've taken a body out of the midfield for a team that has kept possession.
So much possession,
But Spain, I was thinking, that's a bit, you're asking too much of this
And then
team.
You're playing Rice and Phillips, who are naturally players that are going to keep the ball ticking, especially forwards, not sideways.
But that's England's problem. We don't have a player like that.
Precisely that. Yeah. So anyway, with those wing backs, I thought the key player was Mason Mount in that hole. Yeah. He had to link everything. Yeah. But guys, unfortunately, right, Mason Mount in this tournament has not been the Mason Mount we saw at Chelsea. Yeah. And coming into this, when we picked all our teams, Mason Mount was in it. Yeah. So this is not a shot at him, because we thought he should have started. Yeah. But I also said, I don't care who you have to drop, as long as the team performs collectively. Yeah. Mason Mount didn't help the team perform. And yet he kept him on. And so then it came to the point where, Mason Mount would either drop into the midfield, and Harry Kane then would drop into Mason Mount's position. Then it was just Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling ain't going to do much with the ball against those guys, right? And so it sort of like messed up the whole thing. here's where I think here he got it wrong. Because again, coming to this Euros here, I said don't go in there and be cautious. Throughout the whole tournament, I don't think he was cautious at all until that game.
And I think the starting lineup and the formation
Tells you everything.
Yeah.
I think, and this is what I think. I think the build-up, right, guys? 55 years we've not won. We're finally in the final. We have to bring it home.
Yeah.
The trophy's at home. Just take it to the locker room, bro.
literally.
Bro, that's what it is. Just
The trophy is next door to the
it's
dressing
there.
room.
Take it there.
Yeah.
So he's thinking we have to win, guys. The future king was in the stadium. Tom Cruise was there. Shouldn't he be filming Mission Impossible? But he was there regardless. Right? With
Mission Impossible 8.
with David Beckham, everyone was there. I think all the celebs that were in there were supporting England. The pressure is not easy. The moment they went ahead, they just downed, the ability to play football.
Before they can try and see it out for 90
Exactly.
Yes,
And,
88 minutes,
guys,
yeah.
I knew Italy went down when the goal went in. They're the only team that looked confident of winning
Bro.
that game. England didn't give themselves a chance, guys. They
And
didn't give
Chiellini
themselves a
said that
chance.
in his press conference. He said in the post-match, he said, when they scored early, no problem.
And so I think, that was Southgate's thinking. If we can nick a good goal, we hold them off, frustrate them, and hit them on the counter. They weren't set up to counter Italy. They weren't able to.
Yeah.
Didn't have the players to counter. It was just Raheem who
it's
could
weird, 'cause I
counter with
think
his pace.
If they had got hold of the ball and played, I think they can go toe-to-toe with Italy. I think individually, England has brilliant players to do that against Italy. But they didn't. The reason why, I was so disappointed and frustrated, right, is because the moment Italy scored, it finally clicked in my mind. He went on the cautious approach. The moment Italy scored, what did he do? He took off Trippier and try and go back to the formation.
I think that's why I was
I think he went
disappointed
back
with
to the
Southgate
4-3-3.
most of all,
But
to be
your
honest.
team has been playing almost 70 minutes defending.
Yeah.
20 minutes, they're not going to change their mentality.
Anyone who was watching that game could see that what was going to happen in that game. But I think it took Southgate too long. He thought, we'll wind it up. If we could just see it to the end, then we're close to home.
Bro,
but,
once Italy... But it wasn't once Italy scored, the game changed. The game changed when England scored.
Yeah,
Because you're
exactly.
drawing-
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the beauty of the... And this is how you know that Italian team have played together and they know what they're doing. They didn't change their approach.
But that's what England did, yeah.
Not against anyone.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have faith in your first
Yeah,
plan.
100.
In your first game plan. You've got to have faith in it. Yes, it worked against Germany. But again, I told you, he came out against Germany and he said, look, it's to nullify Kimmich and Gosens going forward. And I said, okay, fine.
That
you
makes
want to do
sense,
that,
yeah.
do that. And the reason why that didn't matter so much is because they were playing the same formation.
Yeah,
they were having
match
the same
them
amount of
up.
people in the midfield. So
Yeah.
you match them up.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But when you go against a team like this, who in the midfield they keep
They've
the ball
outnumbered you.
excellently.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what? Yeah, you could say maybe it was to help out on the foot against the wingers and stuff like that. If you're going to do that, I think at this stage in his career, you look at Kyle Walker, and I thought Kyle Walker was excellent in the final as well.
He was.
I think he's a confident enough lad to deal with Kaiser. And if you weren't even confident with that, guess what? Play 3 across the midfield, and one person can support him. You know what I'm saying?
100% double up.
And double up and deal with it that way. But the moment you took out, that body from midfield, we weren't keeping the ball. I said to you guys, I lost count of how many times, Rice try and go on like an Iniesta run. He gets to somewhere,
Literally to no man's land.
no man's land,
basically.
then
Yeah.
leaves the ball, then has
Yeah.
to run back
Yeah.
in. He was shattered after
Yeah.
a while.
That is so taxing as well.
Of course it is. Bro, in the final, you know what? At that point, it's not even about physical taxation. It's about the mental.
100%.
You're drained. You're wanting to win this for a whole nation. And I think that's where we went wrong as well. Forget winning it for the nation, guys. It puts unnecessary pressure. The moment, a team start punching you, you're thinking, you're not even thinking about yourself, like you're thinking, all these people.
But then
are
it tends to
letting down.
happen though. If you look at the past when like France was in the World Cup final, Euro final, whatever, they end up losing because the pressure of being in your home nation and trying to win it seems to be too much for some mates.
Yeah, no, and that's what they say. Play the game, not the occasion.
Yeah.
Because the
exactly,
occasion brings so much more with it that the
Yeah,
game really
yeah.
doesn't. The pressures from each and every single individual in the stadium, those watching.
And you know what? Yeah, it
It's
happens in the
mad.
changing room.
Yeah.
Playing the game and not the occasion, it happens in the changing room.
100%.
So you can make all the noise you want, be prepared. Well, guess what? The other team prepared as well, guys.
And that's the bottom line. Do you know what I mean? That's the bottom line, like, bro.
Yeah.
Come and win the game.
Yeah.
Your approach has got to be, it's one of them on fake it till you make it. Even if, you feel like they're a better footballing team, you keep at what you're good at. Because technical brilliance, player for player. Who couldn't get into that
Italians,
Yeah.
Italian side. Maybe not the two midfielders that we had, but they've been phenomenal so far in the tournament. He's
Facts.
trusted those two, and they sort of like repay this faith, right? In the performance they've put in. Guys, it was a big opportunity miss. I think in the end, and my only other theory is about the penalties, and when we get there anyway. So I think it was just the pressure was unnecessary. Although the 90 or 120 minutes that we got to sort of like be buzzed and feel energy like it's coming home and everything, it was phenomenal. It was a good, happy few minutes for the nation, and it's something to build on.
Yeah, definitely. Penalties. Let's talk about the penalty shootout then quickly. Then thoughts.
For me, for the penalties, guys, I saw the lineup for the penalties. I was actually confident in all the young people who he picked to take penalties.
But did you see that video where Southgate goes to ask Sancho and he's like, I don't mind.
Yeah, but do you know what it is? I feel like people are reading into that so much. I think nowadays, like if you ask me, guys, do you want to record a pod today? I'll be like, yeah, I don't mind. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not a, I don't know, I'm scared.
That's another way to look at it.
It's just no. But, you know what I'm saying? That's how I answer things. I think like personally, people ask me things, yeah, I don't mind. Like, oh, what do you want to eat today? Oh, do you want pizza?
I feel like I don't mind.
I'm cool.
It's like, it's not quite, yes.
No, it's just, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool to take it. It's calm. You know what I'm saying? I think that's how it is. You got to understand as well.
The difference is this, though. Do you want to finish your thought?
No, go on.
The difference is this.
It's a European Cup final.
Well, I mean, okay, I think that we get the occasion. I think here's the difference. When you've been put in a leadership role, and after all this while of not winning, blah, 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 and you finally made it to the final, you don't ask, do you want to take it?
You say you're taking it.
Like you said, right? If Will says, yeah, we're going studio, we're going studio. You see what I'm saying? If you say, do you want to go? Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah.
But yeah,
different.
But then for me, saying yeah, I don't mind. Look, guys, I think personally, if Sancho didn't want to take a penalty, I think with the way the camp has been and the talk of how they built, if he said no, I don't think there'd be a problem. I think he would say, yeah, I don't mind, they're cool.
And already he's late asking him, do you want to take a penalty?
Yeah, because look at the time.
You brought him on.
Exactly.
You brought him on to take a penalty.
Yeah.
So
surely
and that's what I was going to say at the end. That in itself was weird. The psychology behind that for me was weird. Because we all know, also, shout out to the Italian manager, Mancini, because he's a genius. Southgate wanted to bring those guys on 5 minutes before they actually got on. He just told Ely to keep the ball. Ely kept the ball for like 3 minutes.
And from memory, like, throwing on players 2 minutes before the end of extra time for them
Guys,
to take penalty just
we
has never
were crying
worked.
about right backs coming to the squad. Marcus Rashford even ended up playing right back.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. You've got to be smarter. I mean, for me, if you know, that the game is going to go to penalty or there's a chance of it, we were not threatening Italy in that extra time anyway. Why would you not bring on Marcus Rashford up front to just stretch the game a bit and see what he can do to get in behind?
But of course, people just approach of Southgate. Unfortunately,
people will talk about balance, and that's what he said in the post match.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm trying to win the final, bro. Look, I would rather I throw all my tools, throw the whole kitchen sink at a team, and they nick one while we're trying to counter and win, than it going to penalties the way it did. Personally.
But I guess that's hindsight, though, isn't it?
But you say that, and I think even in hindsight, you see everything. However, we also knew, right, coming out, like Saka saying, I knew the moment I missed the penalty, what was going to happen.
Yeah, 100.
If they had lost the game in full time, they wouldn't have got that. No. They wouldn't have got.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Oh, there might have been abuse somewhere, but not at the level of like this.
Exactly. Like they were getting it because they missed penalties.
Yeah.
And then on that, this is my theory. I want to know what people
This
think.
is Coach Dan's theory, guys.
This is my theory.
Let us know what you think.
Because guys, it's one of them ones, you have to sit down and really analyze yourself as an individual, as a whole nation, right? And so I did that, and I was thinking, what did we help these players going to the final? Did we help them, or we were just so overexcited to the fact that they've taken us to a final, and then it was their responsibility to win the final for us?
It's always the latter.
But for me, then it's like, as a nation, what part did we have to play in that? First of all, you're going to a European Championship, right? And then you get the fans do what they do to go to a final. Another form of pressure. But anyway, we'll leave that.
Can I just touch on that, though? This is the only country that I know that their own fans broke into the stadium at a cup final.
I was saying this
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
To some coaches I was working with, I was saying, England's the only place I know, during Carnival, people are throwing acid. It's the only country I know, you go to a European final where you put an application for World Cup, and you decide to break
And
into
you're
your
fine.
stadium.
That, bro, no, seriously, guys, can we actually think? I've been trying to, over the last years, actually trying to think. Nuts.
The level of stupidity, but you find stupid idiots in every society. So
Yeah, it's facts. But
my penalty theory, this is it. So guys, leading up to that week here, or after they beat
Germany.
no, Denmark.
Denmark,
When they
yeah,
beat
sorry,
Denmark.
yeah.
And even stuff like that. The build up in the nation, guys, yeah, was in the political spectrum. You see what I'm saying?
Of
Was
course,
the fact
yeah.
that, you know, Southgate has done this great thing for this nation. He's brought the black side and the white side together. You see what I'm saying? And I was thinking, as an individual seeing that, what would be going through your head? You'd be thinking, actually, I'm doing something here. This is more than football. You know, this can bridge
This
the gap.
big stance to make sure that
Exactly.
we're taking our knee no
Exactly.
matter what, even if people
And
are
so
bad.
and so when the penny shootouts were approaching, yeah, and I seen take off someone with great personality like Hendo, Kyle Walker. I'm thinking to
even
myself,
Trippier coming off at the time.
I'm thinking to myself, what's your plan here? You see what I'm saying? Because at that level, it's not about who can strike the ball well. It's about who's got this and this. And throughout the whole tournament, he's not fancied Sancho. No one can say otherwise.
Facts.
He's not fancied
Grealish.
Rashford.
No one can say
Yeah.
otherwise, right? So I'm thinking, why are you doing that? And then my mind started going, he made those decisions politically. It was politicized. His decision to put those guys on. And I'm not looking at it in the negative context, right? I'm looking at it in the positive context.
Yeah.
Because I think what he is thinking is this. These boys go and they win the Euros, yeah, or the first tournament since '66 for this nation. It's a great thing for the nation.
It's
It
unbelievable,
builds-
isn't it?
You know, the so
Breaks
that the
down
chasm that-
racial barriers, isn't it?
it's going to be phenomenal. But he didn't. I think he was overclouded by that thought in itself. That's my theory anyway. And so I think that's why he put those three boys to go and take, and he put them on the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. I don't think that's a coincidence.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I don't think that's a coincidence. That's my theory. I think his decisions were politicized.
Yeah.
And it backfired. If he had gone through, it's one of those decisions you got to take.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
He was confident enough to take that decision. He should have also been confident enough to pick you're taking. You see what I'm saying? And of all the pennies, the 5th one, Saka. Maybe he's thinking we didn't have to get that far and Saka won't take. But guess what? He had to. Had he scored that, the penalty carries on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Different story, isn't it?
One more thought on the penalties before we look ahead in terms of England.
I mean, Coach Dan's theory is very interesting. When I look at the penalty takers on paper compared to the rest of the squad, I'm confident in them. In a sense, Harry, of course. Maguire, of course. I think because of the way he is, the leader he is. And we all know he's got great tech. His penalty is probably the best one we saw all night. Stanchion. Man disabled the camera. Yeah. Then I look at Rashford, and I've seen Rashford take penalties for years. You know, recently United, he's missed a few. But up until then, his technique for penalties has been perfect nearly. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, he did hit the post, didn't he?
Yeah. In an England game, actually, wasn't it?
I mean, the penalty itself.
Yeah. No, in an England game as well, I think he hit the post and it went in as well. I think not long ago, right? So Rashford, I'm actually confident in. Of course, I haven't seen him play much of the tournament, but from what I know as a penalty taker, even set piece free kicks and stuff, I'm confident, right? Then look at Jadon Sancho. I'm also confident because I've seen him take penalties at Dortmund, you know, and we all know the type of player he is, right? Then I looked at Saka, and I was like, interesting choice here. Because I've never seen him take a penalty for Arsenal. I've never seen him take a penalty for
I
even
felt
the
confident
23s.
because I feel like Saka's a
But
confident player.
I was going to
Yeah.
land. But I was confident in him as a player.
I'm on the complete
And-
opposite with you guys. Because I was watching the Vermeer, sorry, you finish here.
Yeah.
Of all the players that were left, there were 2 players I saw scoring their penalties. Both Harrys.
Really?
But they were the only 2 players. I said it to my mate. The moment they got confirmed we're playing, they're shooting penalty kicks here, I said England is done.
I just
only
thought
2
that-
players because I thought Hendo should have stayed on to take a penalty, and I thought
No
Kyle
chance.
Walker, yeah.
No chance for Hendo, but Kyle Walker, yes.
Because you know what, guys? Yeah,
I would have had Luke Shaw take one as
those
well.
penalties. Yeah, those penalties got nothing to do with your technical brilliance. It's got nothing to do with that, boys.
I think Donnarumma
I know what
was
you're
such
saying.
a big figure in
It's
that
a-
goal.
that's
It's
what
like-
that was my last point. Penalties, it's true. It's got
Until
nothing
you
to
see
do.
that giant in goal, you're like, wait a second. That's
Listen.
why Rashford, he wanted to be so precise that he hit the post.
And by the way, if it would have hit inside the post, that would have been an amazing penalty. Because the precision to do that.
Yeah.
But like you said, right, you weren't confident in them, and it's not about the technical ability, it's about, you know, the heart and the cojones of the player.
Yeah, just
basically.
being able to handle
And
you know,
I
what's
can't
being
lie
asked
to you,
of them.
I thought Saka could do that. Because of the way I've just seen him burst onto the England scene. For Arsenal, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I've seen him do it. Do you feel me? I've seen him play without shackles. I've seen him carry Arsenal. He's probably got chronic back pain from carrying Arsenal this year. Do you know what I'm saying? So when he set to the penalty, I was like, oh, okay, my guy. Do you know what I'm saying? When he missed, and then upon reflection, and I was like, you know, let's pick apart these individuals. And then you go back to those two not even being part of the tournament.
This is where
thing
I think this is where your theory comes in, because if Saka's going to take one, don't let him take the 5th penalty.
Exactly. And that's where your
guys,
theory comes
you
in.
know, you see the statements they put out, yeah, after the penalties. They're all telling you they knew what the backlash was going to be.
Yeah.
So you know it's at the back of their minds.
Yeah.
So even that and
You
guys,
know.
the gravity of that pressure is pressure that you will never ever want to feel. Deep it. If I miss this penalty, I will be racially abused.
55 years of hurt.
Yeah, 55 years of people's hurt will translate into abuse, and I will be abused by a whole nation or a massive part of the nation. If I'm stepping up to
It's
that
a
penalty,
tiny part, but what they're doing is so infectious. You know what I'm saying?
it's
so
it's like
stinks and everything
wildfire.
that. Yeah, exactly.
The way it spread, and that's mad. And as a 19-year-old going up to take a penalty and having that thought in your mind is scary.
Definitely.
But then looking at Donnarumma and that goal, scary.
Crazy.
The guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Donnarumma, yeah, and I think he's. I don't know if he's the only goalkeeper to win Player of the Tournament
For sure, at that age. For
Yeah,
sure.
at that
It's
age, for
unbelievable. And shout out to Jordan Pickford for the 2 saves. The one from Jorginho was different class.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So just quickly, gents, looking forward to next year's World Cup. What are your sort of expectations of England, and what are some of the things, just quickly, that you think Southgate needs to work on?
Number one for me, it's guys. World Cups are different. Yeah, Euros is different. So I think the World Cups are step up in the respect of the teams that come into the tournament and the sheer amount of games as well. You know, Brazil are in it. You know what I'm saying? These are.
But realistically, isn't it really only Argentina and Brazil really that you're really looking at as the extras? Because Europe,
You have to go Uruguay, Colombia, but then that's it.
But yeah, but those teams are hard to beat on their day.
have you seen Brazil lately?
No, and we get your point. They've not had the best run in the recent World Cups, my friend.
But then also, it's true. But then also, Germany will come strong. Yeah, Holland will come.
But then
strong.
we're talking about a year. I mean,
bro,
realistically,
in a
we're
year-
gonna see pretty much the same players, the same team.
But the difference will be
good
is
shout.
the difference here, and this is my point, is that they've been to a tournament and failed. That means there has to be a reflection and correction process. And the hallmark of a great manager is the ability to
But there's
assess
not a lot
a game.
of turnover time, though.
There's
to be
not,
honest.
but
That's the thing.
I can guarantee you, all those teams that went out earlier, the managers started doing their homework and started changing things. What if they didn't? They'd
That's
absolutely
why
silly.
teams like, say, Italy with Mancini, who's been there for
That's
such a long,
different, yeah, see
they
them.
have an advantage.
100.
And England as well with Southgate, because they've had the same
But
system
England's
for...
problem is the way we play and our patterns going forward.
Yeah.
And that's something, and this is my thing. Southgate's next thing should be working out those patterns of play going forward. All right? And he needs to find someone who can sit at the base of our midfield and dictate games for us. That is what we lack. We need a centre mid who can dictate.
We need it. Who is
Jorginho.
that? Who is that player then?
You know, I don't think sometimes you need that. I think what we do have, and we didn't utilize, yeah, are ball players in the attacking sense behind the striker. So can we get the ball to them and let them do what they could do? You know, I spoke about how I think Phil Foden was a big flop, right? No, yes, he didn't play as often, yeah, but coming in with a new hair, like the light, like the sun and everything like that, people don't expect, you know, he was gonna be loud, but he wasn't. Anyway, you know, if players like that going to next year, he plays a lot for Manchester City, you're gonna, you know that his ability would have gone a notch up, right? His confidence, his you know, his leadership and everything like that for you to give him more responsibilities and everything like that. And of course, there will be one or two that come in that you're not probably expecting, maybe even to start or whatnot. I think we don't need that two holding midfield.
This is my point.
I don't
We've
think
got to
we
play
do.
4-3-3.
At the World Cup, I think Bellingham should be in a position to be starting for England.
People need look at. It's only in England, I swear. Did you guys see Pedri?
But you've got listen.
Look,
Here's the thing. Yeah, you've
let
got to
me-
lay the foundations.
Exactly. But my
The
point.
foundation's got to be good. The environment is going to be excellent for them to come in. If Pedri, was a black man playing for England, he still won't play. He won't play.
But I think here we're so caught up on the age of a player and him not being ready. If you don't play them at that level, how do you know that they can handle it or do the business? We've seen Jude Bellingham go from Birmingham fighting relegation to Dortmund and to
being
winning
excellent,
things and being
yeah.
unbelievable.
Scoring in the quarterfinals of the Champions
You've
League
got to
against
play him
City.
in that
Yeah.
midfield three. For me, you've got to pick either Rice, Phillips, Hendo to play as the anchor. Someone who can dictate those players, I think, with the right thing, can dictate the tempo of a game. In terms of know when to tell the centre-halves, you're moving the ball too slow, give it to us quicker, and add a bit of oomph to the play and the speed of how we play. I mentioned so many times throughout the tournament, one of England's main issues, and why Italy pressed us so well, was that the ball from defence to midfield to then get to forward was too slow. The transition was too... I said it week in and week out.
Yeah.
It's got to be quicker.
Coming to the tournament, I had that. I look at England, they're not intentional with their play.
It's got to be
let's
better,
move the
man.
ball and hopefully we get someone on it. No, you've got to be intentional. You look at the Italian teams, the Spanish teams, the reason they're so well at keeping possession is because they're intentional with their possession keeping. And all the time you were pulling out your hair. You don't have much, but you're still pulling it out, saying,
Might start pulling out the beard, guys.
Yeah, the beard, in fact. You're asking, the defense need to get the ball out there quicker. They need to... Because to who, though? That's the problem.
No, but
That's
my
the
point,
thing,
but my point
because
is...
then who's going to take it to then the
But
other
my
players,
point is, but listen, exactly my point there. But the other side to that is, you defenders keeping the ball. You're not doing anything with it. You're not a Trent who can just make magic happen from the right. Luke Shaw, when he's deep with possession, he doesn't like it. When he crosses the halfway line, that's when he'll spin the ball line or play that pass inside to Harry Kane or Raheem Sterling when Raheem spins off from the line and comes in, which is amazing movement, by the way. So then it's like, bro, so just give it to the centre mids. But then is the rotation of the centre mids good enough for them to receive the ball and dictate the play? Maybe not.
You know what's funny, yeah? You look at those midfield, those two, yeah? You look at Rice. Rice is not a dictator for his team. He doesn't dictate play for his team.
Bro.
You look at Phillips. Yeah, Phillips does that because he's the one there. So maybe adopt that. Phillips just be that guy there. And it's really a pivot that, the ball just bounces off him.
Exactly.
It's like you get to him and it's like you spring passes and stuff like that.
But it's the speed of the ball being bounced, which then... But guys, football is so simple sometimes. If the speed at which you're playing is good enough, you will bop. Someone will try and press, but because of how fast you move the ball, the gaps will appear, and that's when you
But
penetrate.
AJ is very intentional. You have to...
Yeah, no,
these things have to
and
be
they got to know
intentional.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
They got to know who they're playing through. Like, for example, when Mourinho came to Chelsea, and a few years after he left, it came out that, one of the main ways they started their attacks was through Ashley Cole. So there's got to be that level of knowing who you're going to play through and how.
It's funny though. I sit there and I'm thinking, surely there's got to be someone in that camp that knows we're not using the ball as well as we could. Looking at the technical brilliance. And
They probably
the
do know.
players that
They
we
probably
have.
do know, but they're probably like, that's just...
It's education, guys. It's education.
Yeah.
You don't have it.
Yeah, definitely. So, are you guys in a position to give any early predictions for how England could do in the
I
World
think they'll go semi-finals.
Final.
There you go.
Final.
There you go.
I think they'll go
There you
semis.
go.
I need to get an England shirt.
Very early. Guys, if you have any thoughts in terms of how England did in the Euros and what they could potentially do in the World Cup next year, make sure you let us know on all our social media platforms. But we'll be back again very shortly for another episode of the Debate Room series.
Three wise men will listen to. There's only three wise men will listen to. It's the front three. No, it's the front three. There's only three wise men will listen to.